check. Good morning, everyone. I really hope you all have had a good breakfast, because all I'm going to talk about right now is food. The one thing that we all cannot live without, and that's food. And I'm quickly going to walk you through 5 minutes of what really Rotimatic, how did it come about and what it has done in the last 2 years of its launch, and what is the path forward for robotics, AI, and IoT in the kitchen. The evolution of food. If you recollect, the first was the farming revolution, and there was a plow that was invented. It was a tool that enabled farming. Appliances started to appear in your kitchen, and then there was a packaged food revolution, which was again led by technology, allowing you to preserve food in small boxes and ship it across the globe. And the latest is the hyper-information era, where you, with just a click of a button, you have your order delivery system, and you get whatever you feel like eating at your doorstep in less than 30 minutes. But as a result of all that, with all the prosperity that we have, our globe is suffering from some kind of lifestyle disease. And it's all because of the kind of food we eat. 70% of the people suffer from heart diseases, obesity, diabetes, and the rest. Along with that, 1/3 of the food produced today is wasted. That's 1 trillion worth of food that's wasted every year. So this is how Rotimatic came about. I was born in India, and I grew up in India, where it's the culture of eating home-cooked food. And the most staple and the healthiest complex carbohydrate flatbread is the unleavened roti. I just want to tell you guys, it's very different from roti paratha or roti chennai. This is chapati that I'm talking about. It's complex carbs, it's whole wheat, full of fiber, full of all the nutrients, and it's made fresh from flour to ready to eat in 90 seconds. And that's done by Rotimatic. Before that, all the people in the world who ate this was 2.5 billion people. And not just the Indians who eat flatbread. There are other parts of the world where you eat tortillas, you eat wraps, you eat the Middle Eastern different kinds of breads. So 25% of the world's population eats some kind of bread. But the problem with it is that it's extremely difficult to make. You need a lot of practice and skill. It's very tedious and time-consuming. Until now, because this is the story of the invention, Rotimatic. 10 years ago, I started working on this product. I'm a mechanical engineer and product design engineer, along with my co-founder, who's a software engineer. We came together to build this product. And like, I'm not sure if you've ever seen the world's first washing machine. That's right in the middle. The world's first microwave oven. And right here you have the world's first flatbread robot. And I'll run a video of it to give you guys an idea of what it really is. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the journey of the invention. It's all the various iterations that we went through in the last 6 years of the R&D that we put in. I mean, you can see the very first few prototypes right on the top rack, and it goes in an S. And the last one is the 10,000th Rotimatic that was produced in our factory, which is right here in Malaysia. And over the years, we've shipped, over the last 2 years, we've shipped more than 40,000 Rotimatics across the globe. And we've made 20 million rotis. Because Rotimatic is a connected device, it's always online. We know exactly how many rotis are being made. And it's not just rotis, it's other flatbreads like, pizza base, puri, tortillas, wraps. So what really enabled Rotimatic? From technology point of view, it was a marriage of art and science, because when it comes to rotis, people are very, very critical about how they like it. So that it's very critical to put together artificial intelligence that enables you to make any kind of flatbread. People put in all sorts of flours, they put different mixes, and Rotimatic figures out the right proportion of flour and water. And all this is done seamlessly. Of course, the mechanical part of it is pretty complex as well. It's got 10 motors, 15 sensors, and all of it comes together in a neat, clean solution. On top of it, it's connected, so therefore it has all the software upgrades. The troubleshooting is very modern. It's a hardware product, so you don't want to service it by having a service center, sending a technician. Most of our problems are fixed remotely, because we just log into your machine and we fix it remotely. And if there is a problem, we just replace the machine at your doorstep. So from a machine, it has gone to a flatbread platform where you can make any kind of flatbread. And it's been loved by a lot of people. There are lots of things you can check on the website. But I just want to quickly wrap it up because I know there's a Q&A with Erna. And I want to leave you guys with the thought that today's generation, we are the people who love the food, we want our health, but we don't want to put an effort. Or also, we don't have the skill anymore to cook food at home. So this is where we feel technology can come in, and it's a deep tech problem, but it can be solved with robotics, AI, and IoT. And Rotimatic is just the beginning. Thank you.
Right. Okay, so now we're going to talk about bread. Right, so, okay, could you just give us a very short description of what the exact process is? I mean, the machine looks fairly easy to use, but what exactly goes into it, like besides turning it on?
So imagine it's like a coffee machine which grinds your beans and makes a cup of coffee. So the 3 containers that you saw in the video, that's a pre-stored flour, water, and oil. Oil, again, is 1 drop of oil that goes in every roti. And the user, all he or she needs to do is select the thickness level, because it's very, very personal, preference-based. You select the roast level, and that's about it. And today, because we can make many more things, like roti, pizza base, tortillas, puri, you can select what you really want, and the Rotimatic makes it. And it goes from flour to ready-to-eat, puffed, cooked flatbread in 90 seconds.
Okay, one thing I find interesting, your company is 10 years old, which is a lifetime where startups are concerned, right? So you took 6 years for R&D.
That's right. So in the process, I mean, because, this, like I mentioned, it's a story of an invention, and there was absolutely nothing like this. And the only reference we had was a human being, which is the most complex machinery on earth. We still haven't figured out this machine. So to replicate a human action into a machine, it did take a lot of R&D. We have 37 patents that has enabled Rotimatic. And of course, the startup side of things, it's not so easy to hire the right team, and you need a lot of capital investment for a hardware company. So those were the other challenges that were playing as well.
Okay, so right now you're focusing on the Indian expat market, right? Okay, so what are your expansion plans? Where are the other markets you're planning to bring Rotimatic to?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think at a very, very big picture level, flatbread is a huge category. 16 billion is the market size of that category. And because complex carb is very difficult to find, something that's freshly cooked with the control of the ingredients given to the user. So as a flatbread, there's a global market for it. But to begin with, right now, our focus is on the Indian expats, because for them, it's a must-have. It's like a washing machine. You can't live without a washing machine. Similarly, in a lot of our consumers, they tell us that I can't live without Rotimatic now. So, but having said that, the Indian expat market was started out in the last 2 years. We have plans to go to India next, which is next year. And then, of course, eventually, it's the first generation of a flatbread robot. When the next generation comes about, we will be able to scale better, the prices will come down, the operational challenges will get sorted, and then we'll be able to launch it globally.
Okay, one thing where, okay. So what would you, you're talking about how intelligent the machine is. How would you justify calling it intelligent machine?
Okay, so I'll go into a little bit of technical details there. So what happens when you make a good dough? To begin with, that's the first step to make a chapati, the dough. When you put flour and water together, if in the audience you guys have ever made anything that's bakery, you would know that you will never know the right proportion of flour and water till you actually make it. And there's a lot of tactile sensing and your human judgment at play. So if the dough has become slurry, you add more flour. If the dough is becoming very dry, you add a little water. And that happens real time. And the reason for that is the flour and the humidity in the air. There are various other factors that are at play. The amount of fiber in your flour, the amount of protein in it, how much water is it going to absorb. All of that is related. And this human judgment is mimicked by Rotimatic's artificial intelligence. So in every cycle, the dough ball that we make is auto-corrected if it's not in the right proportion.
Okay, this is going to be a funny question, but how easy is it to break? Because there will be people who are very experimental. What kind of flour? I mean, they'll try different kind of flours and different kind of combinations.
Yeah, so in the last 2 years, what we've experienced is we have a huge community of Rotimatic owners. And if you have a chance, go to Facebook and type for Rotimatic owners, and you'll see the kind of experiments they are doing with their machine. So they have made all sorts of, most of our recipes on our website have come from the users. They have made ragi, puri, they've made coconut flour added to rotis. I think the funniest one was protein powder added to the flour to make protein rotis. People put, spices, they spice up their rotis. Pizza base has taken off really well, especially because our audience are people in the late 30s and 40s who have kids. And I'm a mom as well, and I have a 5-year-old kid. And it's very important as parents to know what we are feeding our kids. You want to know what's going inside the food. The ingredients is the key. And with Rotimatic, because the power is given to the user, you pick your ingredients, you pick whatever you feel like, make your own recipe, and it'll make the flatbread for you. So the kids have sort of also started participating in the process because they love to see that whole robotic action happening. And I think that's quite a nice feeling for all of us.
Okay, so I think it's time for questions from the floor.
Anybody wants a... Sure.
Thank you, Pranoti. Yeah, a couple of years ago, actually, we saw this online, and we tried to place orders coming from a huge Punjabi family and lots of networks. Then we thought it was a hoax because, we couldn't get anything, and we thought it was one of those that was fake news and hoax, and we said, okay, there's no one going to replace us in making chapatis, the pride of the Punjabis. But it's very good to know. Let us know when it's available in Malaysia or Asia, and, way to go. It's really good. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I think that's one of the operational challenges that we can't launch in every country. So we started out with US, UK, Canada, Australia, and the Middle East, and of course Singapore. But we haven't yet launched in Malaysia. We hope to do that very soon, hopefully next year. I think as a startup, there are a lot of operational challenges that need to be dealt with. And every country, and because it's a hardware, it has to be certified in every country. It has to reliably work in every country. So very soon you'll be able to order one in Malaysia.
Pranoti, one question here. Hello, hi, good morning. Thank you for the insight. Just have one question. I'm basically from the food industry, and one of the challenges in the food industry is always human labor. And a lot of the people in the industry are always looking for automation. Would your product be looking into that direction? Because like I said, labor is getting very difficult, cost is getting very difficult with the human labor, and of course, you know, the overtimes and all that. So this is kind of product is quite interesting. So are you going beyond commercial for people in my industry where there's something like, you know, it could be used for personal, but in the future, it could go to commercial for somebody who wants to start a chapati shop, for example, where he can run it by himself without no human labor whatsoever? Thank you.
No, absolutely. That's a major concern in a lot of developed countries. And I think right now, to be honest, our focus is to get to as many homes as possible. The dream at Zimplistic right now is to get to 1 million homes. But eventually, yes, definitely, we will come up with a commercial version. Even today, when Rotimatic is making 1,000 rotis a day, we know which machine is making 1,000 rotis a day. We know it's probably used in a commercial setting. So there are people who are already using it, but we have not, you know, the intention of it was not for commercial use. The intention was for home use. So everything has been put together in terms of user experience, the needs of the home-based user. For commercial, the reliability is different, the robustness has to be different because it's going to be more manhandled in a setting like that. But yes, eventually we will definitely have one. Thank you.
Okay, so let's take a few questions from the slide. So right now, okay, question from Suresh Madhavan. What challenges did you face in building and funding the business?
That's also a very, you know, startup entrepreneur related question. I think in the beginning, because 10 years back, it seemed like a very far-fetched dream. It was, people knew the power of it because it was the once in a lifetime kind of a revolutionary idea, like the world's first washing machine or the world's first, you know, aeroplane. But then it was equally crazy for us to, you know, believe in it and go forward with it. There were very few investors who could see that and believe in us. But we were very lucky. We found a set of investors who, you know, put in initial capital to help us keep building the team. Because hardware requires a lot of capital to actually, so in the first 2 years, I was all alone. I had put in all my savings. And because I was a mechanical engineer, I was enough to, you know, put together a few initial prototypes that made a roti. So when the investors saw that, they were like, okay, there's something there. It's going to be small size factor. It's making a good roti. So they could see the path forward. And also because we were in Singapore and, you know, I participate in a lot of business plan competitions and the prize money is great, but it also starts building credibility for you. So it happened together because a lot of patent filing has to happen in the first year. So that requires a lot of money as well. So yes, but over the years it's been, I wouldn't say a very smooth or easy ride, but yes, we've been lucky and fortunate to get the right investors at the right time. We just closed Series C round in April, and we are now, you know, looking forward to the progress that we can do with it.
Well, that's all the time we have for this session. Thanks so much, Pranoti, and we're looking forward so much to see what's next for the company future and getting a Rotimatic in more homes, especially in Malaysia. Yes.
All right, thank you guys.